So, welcome to our interview with Damian Bell from Cygnetise. Damian is going to introduce himself in a moment. What we're going to do is talk through why you guys should know about Cygnetise and what it's about. And then we're also, if you a bit short of time, we've got a quick fire link as well, so you can see it in the show notes. So, we'll go through this first of all. Damian, if you would, can you explain who you are, what your role is, and tell us what is Cygnetise and why should it matter to a treasurer? Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, so my name's Damian Bell. I'm an enterprise account director here at Signatise. I've been with the business right from the start. And in essence, Signatise is a database which companies use, treasurers use, to manage their authorized signers, their bank signers across bank mandates, multiple bank accounts, usually multi-jurisdictional. Why should people consider it? Well, up until now, most Treasury teams have been managing this very important piece of or set of information on Excel or Word, or sometimes even looser than that.
Yeah.
And people haven't found that there's actually really been a great solution out there to answer they might be using, there's lots of other great Treasury systems that do a world of good things, but this signer management piece tends to get overlooked. And so that's where we fit into it.
And some of them are using this Excel PDF. They're saying, well, hang on, that works for us. Is that enough, do you think?
It's understandable. It's been enough because there hasn't been anything else there, but more and more, the conversations we have is actually when you dig a bit deeper, most heads of Treasury, most heads of team will go, I'm not happy with the way this is stored. This is important information that needs to be auditable, needs to be reliable, it needs to be secure with proper access controls. An Excel sheet on someone's hard drive floating around somewhere isn't what I'm comfortable with as a top grade Treasury professional. So what else is out there? Okay, here's Cygnetise. Let's take a look.
And if someone checks out the website, you've got on there about blockchain, digital mandates, actually sounds quite complex and expensive in the nicest way. Treasurers, they're cost conscious, should we say.
Yeah. How many blocks and chains do I get for my money? The answer is it's not expensive. We're at a very modest price point. We're often seen as a quick win. And that phrase, it can be a bit naff, but what does that mean in reality? It means our boarding times are very quick. So someone coming from an Excel or Word-based system or something else, even just paper, we're talking usually 2 days, maximum a week when you have some hundreds of accounts and many multiple bank relationships across the world in multi-jurisdiction. The complexity, yes, it's made of blockchain. A lot of people won't know the sort of ones and zeros part of that, but what does that mean in sort of layman's terms? The key feature is it enables you to have an audit trail, which is immutable. So it can't be overwritten. So from a treasurer's point of view, or any of our customers, it's like, right, here I've got a record where I know exactly what happened, when, and who did it. And team members, when they're making changes to this.
When I've talked to, we've got other partners, we've got Fusible, for instance, and they give visibility across the organization. I know when you and I talked before, that it's not just Treasury owning this, the responsibility for this, is it, because does it fit within Treasury, or is it, this is compliance, this is another area, who owns it?
Cross-functional areas. Yeah, you're right. The management or engagement with signers and signatory powers is a cross-functional task or process in a business, especially at the sort of level of complexity of the people in your network. So yeah, compliance want to have a view on this. Legal, company secretariat, those are also teams that we deal with, and finance teams and the C-suite. They want to know who actually is authorized to do X or Y or Z. But if we break it down sort of simply, we deal with treasury teams and bank signers, and then more broadly, corporate authorized signers. So who has permission within a corporate to sign on behalf of the firm in any number of functions operationally. That might be signing high value HR contracts. It might be binding the company into an agreement with another business or large purchasing responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, many departments have a view or a need to use signatory controls and signer controls and authorities. But we sort of break it down separately to Treasury and then the rest of corporate.
And have you seen any practical examples? Because obviously, bring it to life for us. Any transformations with it? Because you've obviously got some, some big names on the website as well. But give us a flavour of that, if you would.
I mean, the general effects of some of the success stories are, we had corporate whereby before they saw us, they were maintaining hundreds of bank accounts on an Excel, and then the updates of those and their signers. They had multi-jurisdiction, so they had a centralized core of signers and then more local signers in each jurisdiction. It was highly manual. In fact, it was nearly all manual. There was no real audit trail that was reliable. So they kept getting punished on audit points internally. And then there was no there was no sort of agreed centralized process. So you had all of these different teams updating their signers in different ways with different needs. So by using Cygnetise, we got rid of 95% of the manual effort that the team members were spending, the sheer time communicating internally and externally. They got a really tight audit trail now of all the changes. They've got access controls to all of their jurisdictional administrators, and they're sending out their authorized signature list digitally to their banks. What that means, actually, that the biggest benefit is, gosh, when someone leaves the same day, we can remove them. We've completely collapsed the risk window.
Yeah.
It's disappeared. So we can update people and say, Damian Bell's left the company, get him off the list, all these accounts done. Whereas before it would take weeks and months. And then you're just sitting there with this unknown
risk out in the cloud sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that one of the ways that people know that current setup's not working? Or is that, what's the sort of the amber flag or the red warning light for treasurers, would you say?
I think there's a couple that keep popping up. I mean, it's audit is always one. You know, they're constantly getting bashed saying, why is this information not accurate? Or when can you prove that this person came onto an account or came off an account? The answer is, I can't. Why not? Well, because, we're doing the best we can with our system, but it's not very good. And, timestamping and all that sort of. So in Signetise, you get everything timestamped. You'll see every change. The other side of it is the speed at which people come off. They say we don't have either a decent enough process internally, especially if you're multi-jurisdiction, or the tool to match that process. So Cygnetise is often used in conjunction with a change in the process. They go, okay, now we've got a piece of kit that can enable us to make these real-time changes. Central office can oversee different teams doing stuff, making changes, removing people. When you get those levers, you can take them off immediately. Equally, if someone joins, we can put them on quickly, and you can store all the associated documentation with it, signer information, passports, driving licenses, and for their legal entities.
And how would you respond to, say, a treasurer or any finance professionals that might be looking at this and saying, well, we've got by so far without it, do we really need this sort of thing?
Yeah, treasurers are busy people. They have a lot of things to contend with. But time and time again, what I see and what I'm told is, my job is to make my team life easier. If this is something that can make my team's life easier and I'm not happy with the current setup, I've not really met many people who are very happy with Excel. They're just not. They know there is inherent risk in the audit and the sort of reliability of it and the stability of it. They don't want to do that. They want something that's a bit more robust so they can turn around internally facing and go, do you know what? I've got a proper piece of kit now. I feel happy with this.
Yeah.
So this is a way to say, I take the risks around this seriously and I've remediated them. And so, most people go, it's now time. Now I know that there is something. I want to know more. It might be a question of fitting it into your timetable of what other projects you've got going on. But once they see it, they're like, okay, something's arrived that can do it. Let's do this.
And if people want more, we've got more information on our partners page, so they just follow the links and they can just have a read.
Yeah, sure. And often a lot of what I'm doing is I'm not the first part is education.
Yeah.
Come and have a look. Let us talk through what are your common challenges, what are your common pain points. We show you the system. Yeah. And then get back in touch when you're ready.
Lovely. Thanks very much, sir.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks.